We're back from the break time. Just a little bit of repeat. Earlier, we were talking about the principle of mental activation. Okay, that we, in order to retain information, in order to not suffer the pain of memory loss, in order to experience transformation, we go through the process of activating our mind. Okay, mental activation by reviewing the lesson. Lesson is the stuff that is new, impression, or anything that if we find applicable. And importantly, if we come to any realization that will cause a transformation. Okay. And here is a discussion on realization. There are different type of realization, small realization that like, how do I tie my shoes? The moment you realize how to tie your shoes, it cause a transformation that we never tie our shoes differently again, and it becomes very easy. It is the moment of transformation that raise our life to a different level. Okay, we experience a new reality, usually a better reality. Typically, we allow experience. Usually, it is a pain and suffering in life that force us to realize things. Right? But it is not the pain and experience in life. It is not the pain and suffering that has a value. It is the lesson that comes after the pain and suffering that actually has the value. That will give us a new understanding about life and new ways of thinking and doing things, thereby changing our life. There are people who experience pain and suffering repeatedly, and they never learn anything. Okay. In fact, if you see a person banging their head against the wall, expecting the wall to break, we call that insanity. Okay. But yet there are people, when it comes to our life and experience, do we find people banging their head against the wall and trying to, let's say, change somebody? Do we not try to change our children? Do we not try to change our spouse? Do we not try to change our coworker? Even trying to change ourselves, and we keep on doing the same thing over and over and over, and we expect different results. Doing the same thing, but expecting different result equals insanity. It's not, there's no realization. So it's only rare that, oh, I'm banging my head against the wall, that I need to stop banging my head against the wall. I need to do something else that is different. It is the moment of realization that we need to do something different, that we have a shift, and we go and find different ways of doing things. Experience sometimes bring realization, but at the cost of pain and suffering, time, effort, paddling against the river, against the current, against universal principles and natural law. Another way that some people will experience a realization is through contemplation. Yeah, that's fine. Contemplation. Some people are great at thinking. Okay. Each of us, we come into this life, we encounter knowledge, lots and lots of different knowledge. But through the process of inquiry, asking the question, thinking about it, we realize the truth. Okay. Some people love to figure things out. Okay. Tying the shoes. Some people would love to figure out how to tie their own shoes. But not everybody is able to come to an answer to a lifelong inquiry through contemplation, especially if you don't have enough information. You can think about a problem and think about the problem and think about a problem, and we will never arrive at an answer unless we have the appropriate information to give right to that answer. So contemplation is one way that we can experience realization, but that too could take a long time and never bear any result. A third way, and a way that align with universal principles and natural law, is to learn. From others. learn from the people who know. If you don't know how to tie your shoes, instead of wasting time figuring it out on your own, just ask. Just ask. There are many, many people who have the answer to our inquiry. Many, many people who has answer to our inquiry. And a smart person, first of all, a smart person will learn from experience, right? A person who never learned from experience, we can't call that a smart person. A smart person would definitely learn from the experience of their own experience or their own failure. A smarter person learned from the experience of other people, thereby increasing their chances of gaining knowledge. A smarter person learned from the experience of other people. But the smartest person learned from the success of the people who've already succeeded. You see, you can learn from a bad experience and experience life and pain and suffering, or you can learn from a bad experience of other people, but the bad experience may not give you the right kind of lesson that you need in the first place. But learning from the success of successful people, then you get it right away. Because they have already did all the contemplation, they have already did all the experiencing for us. If we want to learn math, we don't have to reinvent calculus. Somebody have already spent years and years and centuries to derive math and have calculus, so we just go to school and we learn from them, right? So it is the learning from others that has already gone through and succeeded that is the shortest path to realization. And of course, if we are on a path that nobody has journeyed before, then naturally we're going to have to experience and contemplate and figure it out for ourselves. But if we are asking the kind of question that other people had already gone through, then why waste time experiencing or contemplating on our own? How do I become happy? Oh, there are many happy people in the world. What learn from them? How do I be healthy? Right? How do I have financial freedom? How do I help my family with their mental and social well-being? There are experts who have already gone through, and we just learn from them. Okay. So that's a little bit of a wisdom there. Okay, you can write that down. It is best to learn from people who have already succeeded. Don't learn from people who have failed. They don't get you anywhere. And that'll lead us to this inquiry part. Okay, there's a positive and negative direction to our inquiry. Okay, so when we talk about positive and negative inquiry, okay, it turns out that when a person has a long sought inquiry about any issue, any aspect of life, they're going to eventually reach a realization that answer those inquiry. But it also has a positive and negative. A person who inquire on a positive direction is going to ultimately realize on a positive direction. A person who inquire on a negative direction is going to realize on a negative direction. Let's take a woman who is abused by her husband. Okay, woman who is abused by her husband. And she has an inquiry. Why are men all jerks? She may go from one husband to another, and every time she goes from one man to another, she get abused. And she asks, why are men all jerks? After a while, she's going to come to realization that men are naturally jerks. And therefore, she will never It'll change her, it'll cause an understanding along the line of a realization. It is a negative realization. She negatively realized that, oh, men are jerks. She understand that because all of the men in her life are jerks. And so the point of transformation is that she refused to ever, let's say, get married or get in a relationship with any man. Because her inquiry is, why am I not jerk? It is a negative inquiry. Okay. On the other hand, a person who inquire positively, okay, how could we change that into a positive inquiry? Let's say we use an example of a woman who is abused by her, her male partner. Instead of saying, why are men or jerks? How can we turn that into a positive inquiry using the principle of light? There are many ways that you could inquire. Well, you can inquire, okay, how can I become the kind of woman that will attract, let's say, supportive, loving men? Right? How can I become a woman that will attract supporting, loving men? And then the moment you realize, all I need to do is this and that in order to attract supporting, loving men, and then that's it. She has that reality. She's going to attract supportive and loving men. Why are politics so bad? If you ask why are politics so bad, it's negative. After why, yeah, I know why politics is so bad. You have a full understanding of why politics is so bad. And guess what? That's your reality. You can teach a course on why politics is so bad, and guess what? Yeah, that's your reality in life. But if you ask the kind of question, okay, how do I, how do I bring peace? How to create world peace? Okay, then eventually you're gonna find, oh, okay, world peace need this, that, and that, and then you will have a complete understanding about peace, and then you will create peace. Right? Why is my son addicted? That's negative. Instead of asking that kind of question, how can you transform that? How can I help my son be healthy and positive and happy? With the right kind of, with the positive inquiry, we are eventually going to experience a positive realization. Okay, and let's see if we can clarify the idea of what it means to be inquiring on a line of positivity and negativity. Okay, so when we say positive, okay, inquiry, okay, we're talking about an inquiry, and then we say negative inquiry, what we're really meaning is a direction toward our desire. When a woman asks, why are men all jerks? Does she want men who are jerks? No. Her desire, she's inquiring against her desire. A-I-N-S-T. Against the desire. But when she asks, how do I become the kind of woman who will attract loving and supportive men? Then she is inquiring, let's say aligned with. Okay, our desire. So when our children is playing game too much, and we say, why are you playing game too much? Why are you so lazy? Why don't you study? It's a mix between negative and positive, but if it is against our desire is not for the children to play game too much, right? If we're at a pool and the ground is wet and a bunch of kids is running, and you say, why are they keep on running? We don't want them to run. That is against our desire. But instead, you ask that a question that align with your desire. Okay, what can I do to help the children be safe at the pool? What can I do to help my son be more studious? What can I do to help my children to be more responsible? You replace the negative inquiry with the positive inquiry. You bring light into the room. Instead of saying, why am I sick all the time? How do I get rid of this illness? You ask, how do I become healthy? And when we ask along the line of our inquiry, we're going to find the answer that along the line of inquiry. If we ask along the line of negativity, yeah, we're going to find more answer that satisfy that inquiry. Why am I so sick all the time? We're going to find all the reason why we are so sick. Great. You'll be a very knowledgeable sick person, but you will have no reality of health. Why is politics so bad? We are going to be an expert in bad politics, but we will not be able to bring world peace. All right. So, and you know, when those some of you are here studying to become mentors, and we want to help other people. And when a person comes to us and they complain about, let's say, their family members, and they're saying all these bad things about the family member. Their children is lazy, they play too much game, they don't listen. And we ask, when we say, well, if I agree with you, if I'm your friend, if I agree with you, then that means I am against your children. If I'm against the children, I can't help them. Then instead, what you ask when a person complains about their children or anybody in the family, you ask, okay, what is it that you want? What is your desire? Because only when I know what your desire is, I can help you align with it, because I know the principle of alignment with desire, which is what this is. Okay, so this is called principle of alignment with the desire. Okay. Principle of alignment with desire. We already learned that in order to get the kind of life that we want, in order to go from A to B without experience the price of pain and suffering, without going against the current, we align ourselves with universal principles and natural law. One of them is the law of the principle of light. Next is the principle of alignment with desire. First, we know what we want. And then we ask the kind of question that aligns with what we want instead of aligned with what we don't want. How question is kind of good. Okay, why usually tend to be will bring it to a negative.
Frank?
Yes, ma'am.
So just to confirm, the principle of mental activation is the second principle.
Yeah. Do you want to label
what you just did was the third principle.
Yeah. So
awesome.
So light, if we want to label it, so let's do number 1 here, right? 1.
That's good.
And then I think mental activation is 2. And then alignment with desire is 3. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Principle alignment with desire. So let's take, for example, a husband who works too much, spend all his day at work, and the wife doesn't like it. Every time he comes home, here's why are you working so much? Why are you home so late? Why don't you pay more attention to the family? Right? If she is inquiring negatively, what does she want? What does she want the husband to come home late? Does she want the husband to work too much? No. But as a woman keep on asking, why are you so late? Why you don't come home and spend time with the family? If you keep on inquiring against your desire, guess what? You will perpetuate that situation, that reality. But if a woman, if she sees her husband come home late and she asks the kind of question that align with her desire, what does she want? Does she want her husband to spend more time with the family? Then she can ask the kind of question, okay, husband, what can you do to spend more time with the family? Okay, do you want us to have a happy family? Or what can, more importantly, to change ourselves, right? What can I do to make you want to be home more often? So how does one change a negative inquiry to a positive inquiry? Okay, simple. We need to know what we want. Only when we know what we want that we are able to ask the kind of question of how do I get what I want. But if we focus on what we don't want, then we're going to get exactly that, what we don't want. Okay, how do I, in those limitation, right? Instead of saying, how do I remove this illness? How do we become more healthy? How do I fix this relationship? How do we create a healthy, harmonious relationship? Okay. How do I grasp this knowledge? Instead of saying, how do I have, why do I have, why am I so busy? Saying, how do I make more time? So, okay, so let me just check my note. Any, let's do a little bit of discussion if we can, because it's important. Okay. Any areas of your life? What are some, let's see if we can apply this right away. Okay, let's pick an area of your life that is important to you. It could be one that you've already mentioned, or another area that you have not mentioned. Let's see if we can ask ourselves a question that is alignment with the desire. You want to try that? Yuhua or Morgan or Ron? Let's ask a question. Let's practice asking some questions. Morgan, are you still there? Or we stepped away? Okay.
No, I'm listening.
Okay, yeah, let's practice. Okay, what are some areas of life that is important to you right now? Is it in your inner being? Is it your health? Is it your relationship with other people? Is it your finance? Okay, we're gonna stick to the program. Okay, only 4 areas of life.
All of them. It's a
Yeah,
hard question.
yeah, because it's interrelated, right? Those arrows,
Honestly,
they're all
yeah.
interrelated. Okay, yeah.
Um, I'm kind of, person to not hiding anything from my life, even with a stranger, even with the people, I get to know them at the beginning. I'm not ashamed, to share my life, good or bad side, both of them. And then because the way that you mentioned, we are learning from the people experience. This is the best way I learn it with my age. Even a good, experience or bad experience from the people's life. That's why this is my personality, my character, to sharing, my problem or my success to everybody. And then I believe, people, if they're gonna capture it, they're gonna take it. If not, they reject me and they're gonna move on, which is I'm doing it the same. And then important things is every step that you mentioned is important to me, from material, finance to relationship, all of them. But now I'm all of a sudden I'm focusing most important thing to have a good relationship with my kid.
Okay.
She's an adult, young, new generation, and then we have so far away of each other. Personal, totally different. Even, she grew up with me, and I teach her, how to live. But mentally, we are completely opposite of each other. And then
And so
somehow,
in terms of since we are practicing, okay, since
yeah.
we're learning and we're practicing, you've identified, let's say, an area of life, let's say your relationship with your children, right? Your desire. State your desire for me. State it.
Yes.
Say it. What is your desire? How do you say it? I want you to say it. What do I desire? What is your desire?
The desire as a positive and negative that you mentioned.
Right, but your desire with your daughter, you said?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. What do you want in your relationship with your daughter?
To bring it back to my life, because we living in the same ceiling of the house, but we are not together. And then she feeling the same when we talk together. And then but
Let's see if
she
see if
says
you can.
she say the life different way that I see it.
Yeah.
And then I'm not saying I'm right, I'm not saying that, but at least I want her to with me be the same parallel, the same road, which is I think all parents wants it the same. And this is not the weird thing, that's what I'm looking for.
Okay.
I didn't realize that after working so much hard to working on the new for the new generation, and is my kid is a part of be in the society, but is not thinking the same way I'm thinking. And then it is just a little is odd to me. I don't know how to explain it, but uh, I accept her as the way that he think, or he her vision of the future or her life. I didn't accept it at the beginning. We have a lot of conflict, but all of a sudden I accept her mind. But I'm trying, stop advising completely, because it's not gonna work. It's getting worse. But as a human being, not my kid, as a human being in this society, especially new generation, I start, to change myself, my mind, the way that I'm looking her, and then and start working. Progress is very slow.
Okay.
Because still she is seeing me as a mom, and started defense on me, because you're gonna say something, just
The
advise me,
yeah.
she always has like this.
The
But
this knowledge is going to help you
yeah,
shorten that journey. Okay, it's
yeah,
going to help you definitely shorten that journey. Okay, if you stick to the program and use the formula, it'll definitely shorten the journey to help your daughter. So with this practice,
Mhm.
I want you to ask a question. Inquire. Give me a question relating to what you want with your daughter. Can you ask a question?
The
And
question is
make it a positive question.
positive question.
Mm-hmm.
How can I see or think positive way, because I'm doing a lot of positive thing, changing my mind. I'm doing it. And then, but the maths calculation, you should see at least between 50 to 60% good result. But I'm not seeing it. That's
Okay,
what
good.
I realized, that
So to go
something
back to
is
the
wrong
question, the
here.
question is, how can I think positively? Is that what you said?
To give me the 100% result.
Okay. Okay, let's stick
That's
with
why, otherwise we are wasting our energy, and then we are
that.
doing something wrong, right?
Yeah, okay, let's stick with that. Okay, so let's keep
Okay.
that in mind.
Mhm.
Don't let your mind get sidetracked by all the stories. Focus on the question. Just keep on asking the question. If we keep on asking the question, asking and asking and asking and asking, eventually, okay, if this is a long sought inquiry, we tend to get sidetracked by the stories and the drama. But if we focus our entire attention on the question, then the realization will come a little bit sooner. We tend to get lost and we let the stories get in the way. But keep on asking, okay, how do I think more positively? Okay, so let's stick with that. Okay, and then as we go through this process, I promise you're going to have the answer to that inquiry very soon. Okay. Okay. What about Ron and Hua? Jihua, do you have any inquiry that
I
you want to
have a similar thing with my son again.
ask a question?
He wants a relationship with me, but with his problem, it's kind of hard
Mm-hmm.
because he asked me, I want to be closer with you. I want to be closer, but
So instead of
say,
focusing on the story,
yeah,
the question. So ask a question.
I asked him that. How can we make it better? How
Okay.
can we change this? How can we become closer together?
Okay. Keep on asking. Good. That's a good question. You might want to write that down too. Okay.
Because
Instead of
Frank,
focusing, yeah.
because Frank, we are that Ron, has a similar problem that I have. Maybe most people doesn't have it, but here is thing. After I study a lot positively. We are talking about our question to you. How can we stay positive? We already know that knowledge, that we are talking about the different generation, and then we already know the different generation cannot be able to think the same as our generation. This is not possible. But there's a positive thing between Ron's sons and my daughter. Both of them have knowledge enough to wants to back to old generation like us to have a relationship. This is a positive thing. But how Ron and I or somebody else and you in the future, you're going to see this one soon when your kid is grow up, how we can make it this happen.
That is
Two different generation.
That is another good inquiry.
Yeah.
Keep on asking.
Okay,
Okay.
go ahead.
Great inquiry. Keep
I'm
on
thirsty to
asking.
learn.
Okay, yeah. How do we put the generation on the same level? That is a wonderful question. Okay, keep on asking, and you'll find out. Okay, pretty soon. Okay, what about you, Hua? Do you have any inquiry?
How can I have great health?
Oh, okay. How can I have great health? I think that's mine too. Okay, great health. Okay, and then as we keep on asking, we go through this interaction, and we will share some more formulas, some more principles and natural laws, and those answers will be answered. Okay, all right. Thank you for that, for the wonderful sharing, very personal. For some people it is a private thing, and for other people it's more simple to share than others. And I honor your sharing. Okay, I treasure it. Okay, let's move on. Okay, and through this next interaction, you may have the realization right away. And if not, you can go back and view it, and you might get it, or you might get it in another interaction. Okay, so. Okay, the next one has to do with knowledge. Okay, so we all ask question of how, right? How do I do this? How do I do that? And we also want to spread, share knowledge with our children, our loved ones. How do we best do it? Okay, so here we're going to do a little bit of interaction about knowledge itself. Consider that we all know things. Okay, we know things. Not only do we know things, we know that we know things. That's an interesting thing about human being. We know things, we know facts, we know figures, we know things, but we also have this knowledge, we have this awareness that we know things. Right? Other species might not have that awareness. It is a wonderful thing to be a human being, to know and to know that we know. Okay, so I'm going to draw a circle around the knowing and knowing, so we know that we know, and that circle represents all that we know. Okay, at this moment in time, everything that we know, and we know that we know it. It's a circle around it, and we can see that it's pretty limited. Okay, at the same time, we know things, but we have forgotten them. Right? We know things, but we have forgotten them. And can you imagine that the stuff that we know but forgot is bigger, it's more vast, more numerous than the stuff that we know that we know? Right? In other words, we have forgotten more than we know. The only way to forget is to have known in the first place. So the circle of knowledge with respect to that which we know but forgot is bigger than the stuff that we know and we know right now. You with me so far? Yeah? Will you agree that we have forgotten things? We have forgotten more than what we know right now. Okay? And there are things that we don't know. There are things that we don't know. Many things that we don't know. Would you agree that all the things that we don't know is bigger than all the things that we know, plus all the things that we know but forgot? All the things that we don't know that are out there, much, much bigger than everything that we know that we forgot and everything that we know now. That makes sense? I agree? Yeah? Yeah. And interestingly enough, as a human being, we know the stuff that we don't know. A simple example would be how to fly an airplane. I don't know how to fly an airplane. But I know that I don't know how to fly an airplane. I don't know how to speak German, the language of German, but I know that I don't know how to speak German. So yeah, a lot of stuff that I don't know, and I also know that I don't know them. And all of that is much, much bigger than what I know that I've forgotten and what I know that I know now. And then there's the stuff that we don't know. But we don't even know that we don't know them. So let me ask you this. Tell me one thing that you don't know that you don't know. Can you name a single thing that you don't know, but you don't even know that you don't know them?
My date of death.
You don't know the date of death, but you know that you don't know the date of death. So it's in this circle.
I'm in the third circle. I know I will die.
You know you will die, but
You
you
know
don't
that you
know
don't know. The
Oh.
fact that you have spoken it, meaning that you know that you don't know, right? Just the same as I don't know how to speak German. I don't know that's my date of death. I know that I don't know,
Okay.
right?
So don't know.
So give me something that you don't know, that you don't know that you don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what I don't know.
You know that you don't know that you don't know. That is still part of your knowledge.
Mhm.
Yeah, we can't we cannot bring into mind anything that we don't know, but we don't even know that we don't know them. They are out there in this vast emptiness. And you can imagine all the things that we don't know, but we don't even know that we don't know them. It's really, really vast, right? And so, this circle could be infinite, but just get it, Morgan? Do you get this
Yeah,
part? Can
yeah,
you tell
it
me something
mean,
that you don't know that you don't know?
yeah, it mean I realize that this one, we are human being, and then we are not supposed to know everything. Then that time, that moment when you realize that you don't know, as for example, you're traveling to the Germany and then you realize that you don't know how to speak Dutch, right?
But
To
that's that.
that,
That is the
but
I know
that
that I don't
moment,
know.
That's number
yeah, but
three.
that time you realize that you don't know that knowledge, but you already know.
But you know that you don't know, yeah.
Yeah,
So it's in
but
this circle.
this is different. But that's why when I realized that with this logic, if that you're not supposed to know everything, you growing and learn which one you have to learn and know. That's why we make a mistake. That's why we learn to let us to know. This is my philosophy, by experience. But yeah, now I understand what does it mean. You don't know where
Okay.
it's come from.
Yeah.
Something you don't care, you don't want to know.
There you go.
When you're getting tired, yeah, but
We'll get to
we are
that, and that's
human.
a reason. That's a good point,
Yeah.
Ron, and there's a reason why we do this. So though that all the stuff that we don't know that we don't know, okay, it's not even part of our awareness, not a part of our perception. Okay, it's pretty much infinite. But we're gonna just for sake of illustration, we're just gonna draw a circle around it so that we can refer to it easily, more simply. Okay. Well, first of all, looking at this, we can kind of sense that it's kind of limited, right? Our own knowledge, all that we know, all that we know that we forgot, all that we know that don't know, compared to all the stuff that is out there, pretty very limited, right? What we know is pretty limited, okay? And yeah, it's kind of humbling in a way. There's so much more to know that we don't know. Of course, if we don't know something and we know that we don't know it, like if I don't know German, I want to know it, and I just go to learn it. I just learn German and then I bring the knowledge I don't know into the knowing I know what I know. And as long as I don't let the curve of forget pause, and then I can continue expand my circle of what I know that I know. Okay, therefore reinforce the value of the principle of mental activation, that we can continue to expand that we know that we know, expand our knowledge. At the same time, maintaining the realization that no matter how much you expand that circle of knowledge, there's still so much stuff that we don't know that we don't know. It is still infinite compared to what we know. There's a saying in English, as the island of our knowledge expand, so that the shore of our ignorance. Right? It's kind of humbling to realize, oh, the more that you know, the more you realize that you don't know anything. Okay. So let me tell you a story, a difference about the knowledge. Let me see. So when it comes to interact with other people, this is our knowledge. On the one hand, yes, we can feel humbling, and at the same time, we now have the tool the formula to expand our circle of knowledge. We just use the mental activation. Okay. But when it comes to other people, that's interesting. Okay. When it comes to other people, when we talk to other people, we share knowledge, we share opinion, we share anything, we can only speak from the circle of, so this is now them. Okay, so other people know things, right? Other people also know and forget, and other people also know things that they don't know, and all other people also have many things they don't know that they don't even know. Okay, this circle is now other people. Now we're talking about us. When we speak to other people, is it true that we can only speak to them from our circle of no? I can only use what I know to tell you, and I know that I know it. I can only use that part of the circle in order to tell you. Can I tell you something that I've already forgotten? Can I tell you something that I've forgotten? No, it's not in my memory. I can't tell you something that I've forgotten. Okay, so I cannot tell you anything from the part that I know but forgotten. Can I tell you something that I know that I don't know? Can I tell you a German word? No, because it's not part of my knowing. Okay, and obviously I cannot tell you anything if I don't know that I don't know it. So I can only speak to you from my circle of knowing that I know. Okay. Now, let me tell you a story. So here's a knowledgeable man, okay, a very knowledgeable person. Let's say a PhD, okay, very knowledgeable person, very learned, very experienced, a knowledgeable person who has been in the city for a long time. He went to a school, maybe Harvard, okay, a lot of knowledge coming from Harvard. And so one day he go to Vietnam and he decide to visit his family. And on the way to visit his family, he has to cross a river. And at the edge of the river, there is a boatman. Okay, the boatman offers to transport this very knowledgeable Harvard graduate across the river so that he can visit his family. And as the knowledgeable man is in the river and he talks to the boatman, he asks the boatman, "Do you know anything about the cultures of the world? Did you know that there are hundreds of countries in the world and each of them have different cultures and language and customs? It's wonderful." And the boatman say, "I only know the boat and the river." And the very knowledgeable man strike up a conversation. He asked, "Do you know anything about politics? Politics is really interesting. Different party, different electors, all the laws are involved. If you know politics, you can really influence your society and thereby your life." And boatman said, "I only know the river and the boat." And then as they were going and the knowledgeable man, share his knowledge about the world, about politics to the boatman. And as he was talking and talking and talking, the boat started to leak. Water started to come in. And as the boat was getting more and more water, the very knowledgeable man tells the boatman, "Boatman, the boat is about to sink." And the boatman asked the knowledgeable man, "Do you know how to swim?" And he did, "Oh, I don't know how to swim." And so the boatman has to help the very knowledgeable man get out of the boat and swim to shore to safety. Little fun story to illustrate that no matter how much you know, what you know could be useless to another person. Another story, similar man, during his conversation with the boatman in the river, he asked the boatman, "Do you know about the politics of the world? Do you know about the world cultures and religion and all the great things?" And he tells them all the benefit about those things. And the boatman asks him back, do you know the difference between the wife and a lover? And this very knowledgeable college graduate has not been married yet. He said, oh, I don't know the difference between a wife and a lover. And the boatman says, beside this river and a boat, I also know the difference between a wife and a lover. A wife is somebody you have to sleep with every night. A lover is somebody you want to sleep with every night. Okay. So, and that is going to determine on whether or not you're going to have a happy family relationship. If you want to sleep with your wife, or if you have to sleep with her every night. So once again, it illustrates the idea that what we know is completely useless to another person if we don't follow a certain principles and laws. Okay, one last story. Our master himself. Okay, so for those of you who have not heard this story, I'd like to share it because the master who accumulated and compiled this knowledge was himself a very knowledgeable young man in his early years, in his early 20s. He studied a lot, read a lot of books, take a lot of courses, self-improvement courses. Many of us have done so, myself as well. And at some point, we think we know a lot. So one day, being a person of knowledge and a scholar, he wants to learn, he visit a Zen temple. Okay, he always try to visit the Zen temple, talk to the master, talk to wise people. And on that day, he noticed that the head of the temple, the master, was reading a book. And she approached the master and he wanted to strike up a conversation. He asked, Master, what are you reading? And the master say, oh, just some scripture. Okay, just some scripture. But I've forgotten everything I've read already. Old master said, I've read, but I've forgotten everything I read already. And so our master, this young student, very knowledgeable, having studied a lot, and not only that, he had studied how to read book and how to retain information, informative knowledge. And he proceeded to share his knowledge with the master. He said, you know what? Here is a way that you can read the book very quickly and retain all the things that you read. And so he proceeded to teach the old master on how to read and how to memorize and remember. And the master indulged him for a short while. And after a while, as a young man was sharing his knowledge from his own knowing, the old master said, to be honest with you, young man, it is not that I've forgotten what I read in the book. It is that I've erased my memory. I've emptied what I've read. And so this young man, being very knowledgeable, very informative, was a little surprised. He asked, Master, why would you bother to read a book only to empty your mind and erase it later? What's the point? And so the master said, well, think about it. There are many knowledgeable people in this world. Many of them come here for help and advice. Many of them are PhDs. Many of them are Buddhist students who are more knowledgeable than me. They know the scripture better than me. If I use what I know and try to help them, they will not understand. If I use what I know and I help them, they will not understand. It is only when I use what they know to help them, they will understand. Okay, you can write that down. If I use what I know to help other people, they will not understand. Many of us have spent many years using what we know, to tell other people, and they don't understand. That's why they have not experienced any realization and any transformation. We have told our children to do this and to do that, and they have not understood. We have told our employee, our co-worker, our colleagues. We have given them what we know, and they have not understood. understood because we use it from the circle of our knowledge. So the grandmaster basically said, if I use what I know to tell other people, they will not understand. In fact, some of them are no more knowledgeable than me. If I use what I know about Buddhist scripture, there's some Buddhist student going to be more knowledgeable about Buddhist scripture. It is only when I use what they know that I help them understand. And so it took a while for our young master, our young student, to realize, okay, what that actually means. And what his realization came to be is this. Okay, this is how he explains it. When we speak to another person from what we know, we take what we know. Okay, we can only speak from what we know. We cannot say anything from that which we forgot or we don't know. We can only share with other people what we know. But if we use from what we know, then when we talk to them, there is a possibility that what we know is going to touch what they already know. What we know matches what they already know. Then we have not contributed any new knowledge. That's stuff that they already know. Not only that, if what we know touches what they already know and they disagree with us, then we have an argument. Okay? We have an argument, then our affinity, our relationship, that person is going to break down. Or if we have an agreement, that's fine. Our relationship, we can, that's how we build friends. When we talk about common knowledge thing, we agree on something, we can build relationship that way. But even so, we have not contributed any new knowledge to another person when we speak from our own knowledge, because it touches upon what they already know. What if we use what we know and we talk to another person and it touches upon that which they know, but they have forgotten? When we tell somebody that what they've already know, but they've forgotten, then we have basically reminded them. But here's the thing. They've forgotten something because it was not important to them in the first place. I don't remember the address of the first house that I was at when I was born in Vietnam, because it's not important and relevant to me. Somebody, a friend like my mom, okay, if she share with me, oh yeah, your address in that was that and that, great, thank you, mom, and I remember now, but still, it does not contribute any value to my life because I'll forget it again. It's not important. So when we use what we know and what we know touch it on the circle of what the other person already forgotten, thanks for reminding me, but it has no value. Therefore, I will probably forget it again in the future. You have contributed no new knowledge to another person. And what if we share something from what we know and it touch upon the circle of their knowing that they didn't know? If somebody teach me a German word, oh, okay, that's cool. Or if the Harvard student teaches the boatman the cultures of the world, okay, great, wonderful. That he had just added some knowledge to that person, right? The boatman didn't know anything about the cultures of the world. Now he knows the culture of the world, so his knowledge has just expanded. Great. But here's the thing. If he wanted to know that in the first place, he would have gone to school and studied. If I was interested in learning German, I would have gone to study in the first place. But if I haven't invested the time to go and learn it, then that too is not all that important. It is pretty much similar to that which I've forgotten. There are many knowledge in the world that I don't know, but I know that I don't know. But they are not important enough for me to invest this time into gaining that knowledge. So you can tell me, great, thank you, but it doesn't really contribute that much value in terms of my knowledge. Right? So when we tell people things that they know that they don't know, fine, but it doesn't really help them very much to understand anything, because they're going to forget it anyway, right? Just as the young master teaches the old master how to retain memory by reading books. He shared from his knowledge, but the master wasn't interested because the master was interested in emptying himself. What if we tell somebody something from what we know, and it touches upon the circle of what they know or what they don't know that they don't know? That's a fun one. Okay. What happens if I tell you something and it falls upon that which you don't know, but you didn't even know that you don't know? It'll be like speaking a completely different language, and you have no conception. Like a person would tell me a word, a curse word in, let's say, Tagalog, a Filipino language. A person could tell me a curse word in Tagalog, and I have no idea what it means. I could think that they are, complimenting me, or they're cursing. I have no idea what it means whatsoever. My mind experienced a paralysis. It contributes absolutely no value to my knowledge whatsoever when a person tells me something that I don't know, that I don't know, that I don't know. Same thing with another person. This is others. This is us. When we tell somebody something and it falls into the circle that they don't know, then they kind of go blank. They become mentally paralyzed.
Frank,
Yes, sir.
could I ask something? Wouldn't that still fall in the category of know but don't know? Because he's speaking a different language, you know that, but it's a language you don't understand. You don't know.
Yeah, it could. But it only become useful when the person initiate the desire to know it. A person can tell me a completely strange word in the language of Tagalog, but I have no interest. If I have no interest in that meaning, then I will not turn that into knowledge. It will still remain that I know that I don't know, and so it has no value. Okay, so here we're talking about the value of knowledge and the value of sharing what we know to other people. We have spent years and years telling our children, our coworkers, our spouse, our other people from what we know, and it has not contributed any value to them because it falls into one of these circles of knowledge. All right. We try and we bang our head against the wall trying to tell other people things that we know to be of great values. But
For
it
me,
comes
with
yeah.
a lot of this studying, I know the stuff, but I forgot. So with
Yeah.
these repetitive classes, I'm able to know.
Yeah.
So
But it is only when you initiate desire to know that you will come back. When you come back, every time you come back, you essentially activated the principle of mental activation.
mhm.
Okay, and you can do that on your own by reviewing.
Yes.
Okay, so here we're talking about trying to help another person, right? We're trying to share knowledge, transformative knowledge. Okay, then how is it possible that we can ever talk to another person and help expand their circle of knowledge? We can't do it from what we know. We can only do it from what they know. Okay, this is what the wise Zen master offered to us, that we can only help another person come to a knowledge of something when we can begin with what they know. So I'm going to circle that what they know. Okay, so we're going to say this is them. Okay, there's their circle of knowledge. Okay, this is us. If we use what we know, we're going to run into any of those circle, and we will not contribute any knowledge. Okay, no new knowledge, no possible transformation. But if we were to follow the advice of the Zen master and follow the following principle, we begin with what the person knows. We begin with what the person knows. We begin with what they know, and we expand it to what we tell them something based on what they know, and it's possible that, oh, they've forgotten it. But when we begin for what they know, we expand in it, they are now beginning to see values in it. What they have forgotten may have the kind of value. They may discover the value, and then it will stick. We begin with what they know, and we expand it by adding stuff that they don't know. But it is only through knowing what they know that we can expand to what they forgotten and don't know appropriately. That will permanently expand their circle of knowledge. And we begin with what they know, and it is possible for us to expand it all the way out to the circle of what they don't know. And when we expand it out, their circle of knowledge expands. It becomes the new circle. That's why I'm drawing like this. When we expand from the knowledge to the forgotten, it expands, and thereby the circle of knowledge will expand. Okay, this symbol, that's what it means. Great teachers are the people who are able to do this. Let's say you are trying to teach a child how to do algebra. Okay, math, algebra. You're trying to teach a child how to do algebra, and immediately you use what you know about algebra. You start in by saying, x plus 1 equals 2. But if the child had not even know how to count it yet, and is that child's going to be able to solve algebra? No, it'll be within their don't know. They'll be mentally paralyzed. That is a simple, that is a simple illustration of what it means when you're trying to use what we know to teach another person something that is beyond the circle of knowledge. If we're trying to teach a child algebra and they don't even know how to count yet, that's going to fall into what they don't know, and so they gain no value from that lesson. So we have to go back and we have to establish what they know. Do they know how to count? Do they know how to do simple arithmetic? 1 plus 1 equals 2. Only when they understand that 1 plus 1 equals 2 can you apply the formula of x plus 1 equals 2. Therefore, x equals 2 minus 1 equals 1. So we begin what they know, and we can expand it, add more knowledge, but only based on what they know. If a person want to teach me German, if they give me a brand new word in German, I would go blank. But if they can initiate and ask if first of all, do I want to understand German? Do I even recognize the Romanized alphabet? Then they can begin to teach me what I want to know. Okay, that's important. So basically, this is kind of go through, and we just find out what they know, and then add new information that either reminded them of what they already know but forgotten, or we just tell them new information that bring that what they don't know, what they know. So you're going to be able to pick and choose the kind of information that we share with another person that is appropriate to expand their circle of knowledge. And we just kind of go through, and we do that along with everybody we make sure that when we talk to a person, we find out what they know. Okay? Everybody that we meet, we talk to, we find out what they know. We don't ever jump in and tell somebody any bit of information or knowledge that we don't know what they know. Because it'll be a waste of our time, it'll be a waste of their time. Not to mention we might end up in an argument and we'll lose our affinity with that person. Do you get this part so far? This is called the principle. It is a principle. Principle of circle of knowledge. I need to practice my N, my letter N is I always have difficulty with the N. Okay. Principle of circle of knowledge.
Frank, so that would be the fourth principle.
We're number 4 now?
Yes.
Okay. Alrighty.
So I would like to ask you is just to clarify, use what they know to help them, they will understand. And we began with what they know, then expand. So what do I ask them in the scenario that I would like to share this knowledge with them, the philosophy, the root of education. What kind of questions or what kind of approach would be best to ask them?
Okay, good.
How can I approach them?
We can begin with their desire. Okay, we can do they even want to know?
Right? Sometimes if they don't want to know, then we're just wasting their time and our time.
No time. Do they even want to know? But most people want some kind of knowledge with respect to these 4 areas of life.
So that is the first approach, is how are you doing with your
How are you doing? When you say, how are you doing? Okay, the next time we talk to a friend, say, hey, how are you doing? Listen. Most of the time, instead of saying how they're doing, they'll tell you the problem. Immediately, right away. From their circle of knowledge, what do they know? They know the problem. They know the darkness in their house.
So that's one way to approach.
They know all the darkness. They know all the problem of their children, all the problem of society. They know all the problem of their health, but they don't know what health look like. They don't know what world peace look like. They don't know what a harmonious and healthy family life look like. Once you establish what they know, we have to establish what they want.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I know what they
People can
want.
know, but yeah, I'm living in darkness, but I'm fine with my darkness, right? There are people like that. Okay, I'm not interested in changing. Some people are like that, and okay, there's no need to waste time. Okay, we can only help somebody who wants to be helped. Okay, in fact, have you ever done charity or give money to the poor or homeless people and they refuse it? I think I have, or my wife have. We love to do charity, but we give them something they don't want it. Even though we think it's valuable, we think this knowledge is wonderful and valuable, but to other people, they don't want it. But most of human beings, we want something. Okay, and in order to determine what they want, we need to there's an appropriate way to ask that. Let me see. There's a check my note. We need to, yeah, in order to find out what a person wants, you simply ask. How? ask with humbleness and authentic desire to know them. Ask with humbleness and authentic desire to know them, which is different than asking them what they know so that you can manipulate them and tell them what you know later. The advantage of asking what other people, here's a powerful advantage of asking other people with their humbleness and authentic to know, is that our own circle of knowledge expand. Because what we know now encompass what they know. So when we ask with the humbleness and authentic desire to know, our own circle of knowledge expand to encompass what they know. And so the next time we talk to them, it is already what they know. Okay, ask with humbleness and authentic desire to know them. It expands our own circle. It enables us to communicate with another person and share our knowledge. Because the next time we talk, it's going to be from their circle of knowledge. We now have a common set of knowledge to speak from. Notice it's easy for me to use and for me to transmit this knowledge, right? We speak the same language. We're in the same circle of knowledge. And I keep on asking you for your feedback. I keep on asking for your realization, your impression. That is my way of establishing what you know, so that I can expand your circle of knowledge, thereby expanding my circle of knowledge about you. I now know Ron and his son. I now know Morgan and her daughter. I now know Jihua and her desire for health. It is more simple for me to give you knowledge with respect to health, with respect to relationship with our children. I might not have to spend time talking about finance in this interaction. In some other interaction with other people, there may be people interested in finance. But for us, it seems that, the few of us here, we're interested in relationship and personal health. Okay, I might not need to waste time giving you the formula for, making it become a billionaire. But we'll probably focus more on relationship, thanks to the circle of knowledge. Now I know what you know. That makes sense? And so humbleness and authenticity to know. Okay, and I like to, just a little side bonus. This is not shared in the official WIT share, but I always find this Chinese symbol for listening to be very powerful. When you ask, obviously, the next step is to listen. Okay, the authentic desire to know is to listen. Okay, and the Chinese word for listen is really interesting. It looks something like this, and I apologize in advance or ask your pardon as I don't speak Chinese. So I think it looks something like that. There is a symbol like that. There's a symbol right there. There's a symbol that looks something like, and then there's a symbol that looks something like that. Okay. If it's wrong, it's probably wrong, but at least I'm transmitting the idea of listening. Okay, so this is Chinese word for listen. Listen. To listen on a very physical, material level is to use your ear. This is a symbol for the ear. Kind of look like that. This is sort of this flag symbol for the ear. Okay. We listen with our ears. In fact, you can use the mental activation, applying it to the listening with the ear. As we're sitting here, as I'm talking, or when you're in a lecture, anybody is talking, listen and see if you can actually repeat it in your head verbatim. Exactly as we hear it. We will practice the true hearing later. We're talking about true hearing. Okay, this is just a physical hearing. But if we can simply listen, hear something, and repeat in the exact same word, that means we have actually listened. If we are not able to repeat it in our head, then we have not actually listened. Okay, there's a word to listen. The first symbol is the ear. We use the physical ear to listen to the sound, listen to the intonation of the voice. Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it balanced? Is there happy in a person's tone? Is there sadness in it? Right? We can expand, and we'll talk about the gift of listening later. There's another symbol. This symbol is a number 10. The cross is a number 10 in the Chinese language. Okay, they write number 10. 10 represent perfection, total completeness. Okay, that is the number 10. The horizontal dash, it is number 1. Or unity. Unity. Perfection, unity. Oh, there's another part. Yeah, there's another part. Let me rewrite it. I knew I don't speak Chinese. That's why that's wrong. That's why it's missing something. Okay, I'll rewrite it. I got it. So we'll draw the ear again. You can then redraw it for me, with me.
Okay, Frank, during your drawing, what does it mean, the definition of unity here?
Huh?
What is the unity meaning here?
I'll explain that. Okay, I'll
Okay.
explain that. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, there's that symbol in the middle. There's number 1. And then there's that. Something like that. There you go. We're missing that part. So, to listen. So there's a physical ear. Okay. This is the 10, which means perfection or perfect. This here is the eye. This is a symbol for eye. Can you see the face with 2 eyes? Right, like eyeglasses. Okay, this is the symbol for eyes. Okay. Later we'll learn about the gift of seeing. Okay, the eyes. This is the number 1. In this context, it has to do with unity. This bottom part, the whole part, is the heart, the human heart. Does that look like the heart? Does that look like human heart? So the way you read this, to listen, is to physically hear with perfect sight or perfect seeing. So how do you hear in such a way that you see the totality of a person? Total seeing, complete seeing, our gaze, the way we look at another person. When we look not only with the ear, but we also look with the eye. We see the person. We see the way they express themselves. We see their smile. We see they're happy or they're sad. Perfect sight, divine seeing. That's number 10, what does it mean? Okay, perfect sight, perfect seeing, see another person the way God sees another person. Okay. Number one is unity. Unity with the heart. Listen with the ear, with perfect sight, in unity with our heart. We listen with our ear, with our eye, and with our heart. You feel what that other person is feeling. It's called empathy. Okay. Sometimes, like Ron said, he has certain thought, but he can't put it in words. But you can feel it. Right? You can feel it. Sometimes we can sense a person, are they sad or they happy? They might not be able to put it in word, but you get it. You get the message. To listen is to use the physical ear, listen to the sound with perfect seeing in unity with the heart. And this symbol over here, there's three parts to it. This is heaven, humanity, and the earth. To be able to listen with your ears in perfect sight, in unity with one's heart, is a person who can connect heaven, humanity, and the earth. That's also the symbol for a king or a leader. Some of you have been in a leadership position. When you listen to your followers, your co-workers, your colleagues, you are connecting heaven, humanity, and the earth. And we listen simply with our ears in perfect eyesight, in unity with our heart. Kind of cool, huh? Kind of cool, huh? That's how we listen with humbleness and authenticity to learn. Authentic desire to learn. Okay? Any lesson, impression, or realization so far about the circle of knowledge and about listening? It is a principle. So if we have been talking and talking and talking to our children, our friend, our co-worker, and we've been rowing the boat, putting a lot of effort, and we seem to get nowhere, or the moment we stop talking, we go backward, and guess what? We've been going against some principle, and now we know what that principle is. It is a principle of the circle of knowledge. We have been speaking from our own knowledge, our own knowing and knowing, expecting the other person to take it, but they don't take it. The appropriate way, the right direction, is to speak from their knowledge. Expand their knowledge based on what they know. And when you expand on their knowledge, when we know our own knowledge our own knowledge also expand. We understand the other person more. Okay? When we speak to a person with a humbleness and authentic desire to know, we become a king. They will listen back to us when we listen to them. We essentially become their leader. Would it be nice if we as parents are leaders of our children? Would it be nice if we are leaders of our co-workers and our colleagues? But only if we listen with our ears, repeat what we just hear, with perfect sight, seeing the whole person. Okay, we can see them physically as well. In unity with our heart, be empathetic, broaden our listening, broaden our own circle of knowledge, and in no time, people will start listening to us. Take a little bit of wisdom to do that. Take a little bit of awareness and perception. Okay, we just learn a handful of words. None of this is new words. We all know these words already. We have learned nothing so far in terms of informative knowledge. We got no new information. Every single word here has been in our vocabulary since grade school. Not a single word here is new. Yet the arrangement of these words hopefully has caused some shift in our awareness and perception, and hopefully has caused some shift in perspective and realization. Okay, so let's do this. Each person go through what new lesson did you get? What do you find impressionable, which is applicable? And if you got any new realization before we do lunch. Who wants to start? Don't make me call on people. Come on, there's only 3 of us. You don't have to turn off the the mic and turn it back on. Just blurt it out.
For me, I've learned I like the circle of the principle of knowledge
Huh?
and also the listening. I had an incident at work the other day where my boss was dealing with somebody, but he presented it because of holidays. They were taking too much holidays and stuff, and he presented it in the wrong way. And all of a sudden, this person got very defensive. And then they're calling me on behind my boss's back. And how can I deal with this and all that? And I just said to him, well, let me talk to him. And I find that treating them with a little bit more respect and listening to what they're saying is more effective than just blurting something out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's through the knowledge of what I'm learning.
Yeah, there's a humanity in it.
Yes.
The humanity in it.
I calmed the situation down is what I did. And then I also mentioned to my boss, at first I was kind of skeptical. I mentioned to him that I'm taking this course and I didn't know how he would judge that, but he took it in a way that he accepted it and he says, oh, what's it about? And kind of explained a little bit to him what I know. I can only share what I know. So, yeah.
Right. But now that you know this principle,
Yeah.
next time you share this knowledge with other people, make sure we know what they know.
Yeah.
Make sure that we listen to see if they're interested. Because
But
when
he
I
didn't
first
judge,
started,
right?
yeah, when I first started, I am very enthusiastic about sharing. I talk to everybody, but they don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
And so that can damage your affinity with people. It is now only understanding this circle of knowledge that I had to gauge their interest. Yeah, we can say that, okay, I'm learning some philosophy on health and happiness. In fact, I will in my field, I work on healthcare field, and so I will use their language, their knowledge. I'm studying a philosophy on health and happiness. Health is in
So
health.
I feel I transformed because I broke that barrier
Yeah.
to express what I wanted to get out, like telling him about the course, and there was no judgment. So it made me feel better too at the same time.
Okay, so you have just drawn in a lesson from the 6 barriers. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you, Ron. Chị Hoa, Morgan.
Thank you. That's good. That gives me some more tools today to make sure that I get to know them first and then I like the word you just used to gauge their interest.
Yeah.
And expand the circle of the knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, it's good.
Ask with humbleness and authentic desire to know them, including our children.
Yes.
We think we know our children. We think we've been with our children 20 years, my son 8 years, and we think we know them. But when was the last time that we actually sat down and listened with our ears, see them in the totality of their being, in unity with our heart? Have we been able to establish ourselves as their king or their leader, king or queen or their leader? So maybe we haven't really listened to our children at all. And no wonder people complain that children don't listen to the parent. Well, yeah, because we haven't listened to them. We haven't used the principle of the circle of knowledge. Okay.
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah, so this is to give us some hope. Okay. Morgan, before we go to lunch, come on, Morgan.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Come on, right about what? Which part of the lesson that you find applicable?
Yeah, the way that we have to talk with the new generation that they want to listen.
Yeah.
Not that one they already know and they don't know. We have to find what they know and then started to talk to them the way that they know. Otherwise, you're right, it's not going to work because they're not listening.
And so we have just answered your inquiry about the generation gap using the principle of circle of knowledge. When we apply this principle of knowledge, just like the Zen master, he can counsel PhD, he can counsel farmers, he can counsel little children, because he emptied his own knowledge. He just speaks to them on his own knowledge. So there is never a generation gap between the Zen master and any of the people that he counseled. There's no generation gap. There is only an awareness gap. Okay, there is no generation gap. There is only an awareness and perception gap between what we know and what we are yet to know. Okay, so
the first step is to be at their level. You don't need to go and say, "Oh, I know more than you," or
exactly,
"I'm so
exactly.
much." You know.
Yeah, exactly.
Be
Yeah,
at their level. Yeah.
yeah.
Meet
Okay.
their level. Yes.
Yeah. And then later on, we will learn the concept of emptiness of being. And in fact, and then we're going to get to a formula that will help us empty ourselves so that we don't get trapped by what we already know. And the benefit of ask with humbleness and authentic desire to know is our circle of knowledge expand. It's great. Okay.
Before we go, I would like to ask you, you are in Master K04, right?
I'm not a master. I'm just a student in the master's program.
In the master, yes, in the Master K04. And when
Yeah.
are you graduating?
August, and August is the conference, and I think the Master K04 conference is like a couple days before the mentor conference.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe we'll meet each other there.
Yes.
Yeah. My work schedule, I can come to Vietnam early, but I have to leave pretty soon right after the conference end, and I think the master ends before the mentor.
Are you there for a week or?
Yeah,
for
pretty
the
much.
conference?
Pretty
Yes.
much a week from beginning to the end.
Okay.
I don't remember the exact date.
We are there on 24th in Phu Quoc.
Yeah, I might be gone already. So
Oh, okay. Anyways, we're just curious. Thank you.
okay. Yeah.
You have a good lunch, and when are we coming back?
Let's do an hour lunch, okay?
Awesome. Yeah.
Okay, that's with my little, I have this thing today. So
Bye.
it is now 12:11. So let's do 1:11. Okay, let's do 1:15. Okay, nice round number. 1:15. Cool. Okay. That sound good? Look good?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Perfect.
We'll see
All
you.
righty.
Frank, enjoy your lunch.
Yeah, have
Thank
a
you
good
so much.
lunch.
Uh-huh.
You can stop the YouTube, I think. Yeah.
Huh? Oh, yeah. Okay, let me stop that, and then you can I'll
Remind you.
Yeah, you are now my
Remind us.
talent asset. I have
Well, the
identified
remind
you
about
as my
the
talent
time, the
asset.
recording.
Oh, yeah.